guys, getting away from me. I wanted to be back here a little earlier than this, but we're back. We're back. I do have some new information for you. It's not breaking information or anything. It's just more thought-based information. I don't know if you guys are new to this case. I always do like an introduction to the case. And this is Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And since then, there's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in this case. So just to kind of give you guys all a breakdown of what has transpired and where we are today, we were told that he had an eventful day. You know, they went to BJ's, got some snacks, came home, saw some relatives, went to a bowling alley, and went out to eat. Then they made their way home. Sometime after they came home, Sebastian took out the garbage. He turned in for the night around 9 p.m. The mother gets on the phone with the stepfather. They have a conversation while she's reading a chapter for her schooling. She hears a thud in his room around 10 o'clock. There was some verbal communication back and forth between the two. She turns in about midnight, and when she wakes up at 6 a.m. to get her son up, he's nowhere to be found. She describes having all the doors in the house locked, that there was no appearance of any type of intruder or breaking and entering into the home. The child, according to the mother, has left all shoes behind. The cell phone, his video games, and apparently there's some type of, I'm very vague on this flashlight. You know, when I heard the flashlight at first, we all believed it was like a normal flashlight. And then as things started transpiring, we were learning that this flashlight didn't have batteries. It's a little like keychain flashlight that apparently he might be using for his hands or something like that. But again, I'm unclear about the flashlight, and I'm unclear if even what I've just told you is true or accurate, because I'm unclear about the flashlight. So we have that. Then somewhere along the line, Nick Barris, which is a news reporter out there, was interviewing some neighbors and got his hands on a video that showed some weird lights in the back of the home leading into a new construction community right behind their home, which is a subdivision that's, from my understanding, a separate subdivision from theirs. It just, there's access to it from the back side of their home, or that side of the home. And so we saw, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if the lights were going or coming at 3. I kind of, for whatever reason, my best judgment is telling me, based on the timeline and when Chris was allegedly reported to work, the PIs did come out and said that they were able to confirm that Christopher Proudfoot was at work at 5:15 a.m. at his job. Now, if that is true, and they fully confirm that with employment records or some other way, I don't know how they confirmed it, which always makes me feel uncomfortable, because they said they confirmed it, but didn't say how. They didn't say if it was from a timesheet, a punch-in, a time clock. You know, they didn't tell us the receipts that they had to confirm that. Oh, Lori, thank you. Thank you. God bless you. So I don't know about that, but since they are the only ones that have said that it is confirmed, I would venture to say that it most likely is confirmed at 5:15 in the morning. So as you can imagine, when I was doing the timeline previously and doing all the maps, I was basing it on them leaving their house and going to Chris Proudfoot's work. But if we apply those lights in the backyard, okay, the lights in the backyard were like around 3:11. So there's no way, conceivably, that Chris could have driven from the time those flashlights or whatever light event was being seen in the backyard. There's no way he would have been able to make it to work by that 5:15 timeline. So it kind of took the sails out of my the wind out of my sails, because even on my live on YouTube, one of the people had brought that up, and I remember saying, that was one of my theories too, that he left at that, but there's no way. It takes too long. Even if he went as top speed as he could possibly go, he still wouldn't have been back there by 5:15. There's no way I can work the time. I can work the time better if the events happened at 9, because that phone call from 9 to 12 would be his drive there, right? So from 9, and obviously they would have went somewhere else comfortable. And so I'm thinking that somebody would have had to drive Katie back, and I think it was Katie coming back to the house at the 311. Now, I don't have really anything really supporting this. This is just a theory that's kind of developing as information is released to me. But I think it was like a week or two ago, I started, looking at this case from a different angle. And so seeing those lights, and now knowing that we have a confirmed time at 5:15, and knowing there's no way I can make this work with the lights. If we have, again, the light source I'm applying to Katie and Chris and their behavior, because they're the ones that are most suspicious. So for the people that have theories of, say, a third party, an anonymous, a question mark person, right? Then you could apply this as them coming at that time, because then it's a third party. It's not anybody that was in the home. It wasn't anybody associated or related to Sebastian. So you could work the lights that way if you believe that it's a third party. Me personally, everything that I've seen with the parents, it's leading it's their behavior that's making me feel like, because we know parents, and they're just not acting right. So I've got to really, that's got to play, whether there's evidence or not, I've got to trust my gut. And at the end of the day, they're not acting right. And I can't sit here and keep acting like they are, or trying to avoid an elephant in the room because people don't want to talk about it because law enforcement hasn't said it. I've never worked around law enforcement, okay? So at the end of the day, I trust my own ability to, in my experiences, my past experience, to help me drive this. I can definitely say that we have no proof that a crime has been committed. I can also say that it doesn't appear that law enforcement has conducted really a whole lot to see if there was a potential crime. But that is from what we know, because in all fairness, law enforcement has been silent. And there could be a lot of stuff which I have to presume is going on behind the scenes in all of this silence. So what we knew a month ago, and maybe what law enforcement told us a month ago, has wildly changed since then. And that very well may be the reason why they just don't want to come to the podium just yet. Now, of course, naturally, I think that we need to have public relations, at least some type of press release or statement from them that's just regular, at least outlining every other day, outlining just the facts of the case, right? And if they can add a little nugget here, if nothing more, what is effective? Telling people how many leads you've gone through, just it sounds like a meaningless task, but I promise you this is not a meaningless task. It will make and this is for law enforcement across the country. It will make your life easier if you just have a public relations. Just saying. Okay? Just saying. We have a few things that I'd still like to go over. And this is one, I'm really pushing that this case really needs to be brought back to Sebastian Rogers. This case, in my opinion, has completely gone off the rails. I'm still seeing some I call them cockroach channels. I call them hate channels. I call them they're associated with one group, this group of people. And of course, I still see them attacking Tony and attacking Seth on the regular. And I'm over it. I'm not on that bandwagon. I'm not on that same mindset. You know, I just don't believe in it. I know for a fact in my mind has been satisfied that Seth has done everything he can possibly do to prove to the world that he has nothing to do with his son. That's adequate for me. I'm not looking at him, okay? Until there are some differerences, some different receipts that are produced that may change my mind and may make me look at that man, I'm done with the conversation when it comes to Seth. He's the only one that has been corroborated to pass a polygraph test. He's the only one out there looking for Sebastian. He's the only one that has dealt with all this bullshit and chaos all by himself, from the United Cajun Navy to this most recent nonsense that's going on. I'm over it. I'm over it. Anybody that's going down this drumbeat, we need to figure out why, because I have a funny feeling that they are working either for pay or not, for friendship, for clout from these hate channels to help drive some more, stuff to them. I'm just over it. If people are talking about this with no receipts, change the channel. They're blowing smoke. Why waste your time? I don't even want to hear it, because I got to be careful, because I don't want to be insulting, because I know there are some people that believe that Seth, truly believe it, not just for hate, not just for, triggering people and stuff like that, which many of these are doing for that, just to try to get attention, right? So I don't want to delegitimize the people that have legitimate concerns with Seth, okay? But at this point, until there is more information, he is not exhibiting any of the red flags that we need to point our finger at him. And for those reasons, we cannot just keep beating this man up when he's the only one out there. We need somebody with some energy to help bring this boy home, okay? And it deserves to be his father. It deserves to be Seth. So I'm not really willing to entertain any more of this nonsense of constant attacks and constant drama brought up because a group of people are butthurt because they made asses out of themselves. They are an unprofessional group of people, period. If they weren't so unprofessional, we would not be here. End of story. End of story. So I don't want to hear it. I've been saying for 2 years, knock it off with the internet PIs. They bring entirely too much drama to these cases. I've covered multiple internet PIs and their shenanigans on my channel over the last few years. And I'm over it. If people want to continue to engage in these internet PIs and continue to have these cases go like this, then continue to support them. I'm done. And I'm done with the channels. That Ellie Mage farmer chick I will never support another one of her channels ever again. Ever again. She's got Facebook. Facebook's dying out. So, good luck, babe. That's all I got to say. Good luck, babe. But we've got to stop the drama. And when we start seeing the drama, I think we need to be quicker to exit stage right, because at the end of the day, we're not a drama community. We are a true crime community. That means that we're here for the cases. We're not here for any other purpose. If we cannot, as content creators, provide a benefit in the true crime genre, then in my opinion, this is my opinion, some people may be different, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. But in my opinion, if you're not here for the victims, then you need to be in a different genre. You're not true crime. I don't think true crime should be dramatic, not like this. This is jealousy, pissing contests, and who can do the most. Look at me, I did so much. This is a team effort. Some people work a little harder than others. I mean, I don't know how many people have worked for corporations. One of the biggest problems I had was you'd have your top people, and you'd have your people that weren't so top, okay? So it's still a team effort. It's still a team effort. And so this whole thing, I did more than you, I did this and I did that, and shame on you, that's the unprofessional crap. Okay? So if you want to know why I'm saying unprofessional, is because that sounds like a kid, a child. I don't go into a job and say, look at what I did. It's we. And this one is just to remember and remind us that it has been 80 days and we have got to get back to what is important. It has been over 80 days since this boy disappeared. Truthfully, our feelings, if they get hurt, don't matter. Doesn't matter. Trust me, I get my feelings hurt on a daily covering these cases. On a daily. If I came to social media every time I had my feelings hurt, we would be talking about Bullhorn Betty and her feelings literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It would not be about these cases. Does my feelings get hurt? Yes. Would you know it? No. Unless it's like yesterday when I got pissed because that was just wrong on all levels and it was public. And so then let me do public. So the reason why I have brought this up is because every time it seems that somebody is combative with another person or has any type of C in them, I don't know if this is Chris or not, okay? It very well could be. I truly believe that they've got multiple, troll accounts to watch what's going on, which is another major red flag for me, how closely they're monitoring social media. So I kind of understand why people will think it's him. Now, I'm not sure if this is, like I said, it could very well be, but I just want to caution that everybody that talks or challenges somebody is not Chris, even if they have a nice C in their name, because here's what's going on. Just like I was talking about those hate and cockroach channels, they do stuff like this on behalf of the people, right? Some of these are paid bad actors. That means that they are getting anonymous money to run interference. Sometimes they're getting direct money where they know exactly where it's coming from as well to run interference. They will create accounts. They will be in here. They will be inciting people. They will be sending people a bunch of stuff. They will start, I can't even speak my words, but damaging people to think that, this is going on when it's really not. Okay. For example, there's several people, and I'm just going to say this very lovingly before I get behind me. There are people that are sending me some stuff about, Seth and all this stuff about him being, doing things to Katie. First of all, when you calculate, they're talking about she had some type of medical procedure to end or whatever. First of all, I want receipts because it sounds like Katie's home life was very, very dangerous and consisted of a lot of SA. Okay, that's what it sounds like. So first and foremost, if she did, doesn't mean that it had anything to do with Seth. Okay, first and foremost. Secondly, Sebastian was born when Katie was 19 or turning 20 or somewhere around that. Okay, we know how long it takes to incubate a baby. So do the math. Okay, I think somebody is spreading around misinformation, and until you provide me receipts, it's hard for me to believe it because the math ain't mathin' when it comes to really actually calculating it. And I almost want to venture to say, if I recall, you might want to check this, fact check. I don't even think they were anywhere near each other when she was 13 or 14. Just saying. You got to go back and look at the dates and the addresses of where they were located at the time that these people are passing it around. It's fairly easy to figure this out. I'm not sure if that happened, but I'm going to venture that it's highly unlikely in my book. I mean, if you really did find out. And if I'm wrong, please, there's somebody peddling it around, Angie, because I know I heard it long before this because I looked into it, and I'm like, there is a significant age difference between Seth and Katie. I think Seth is like 43 and Katie's 34 or something like that. So there is a significant age difference between the two of them, but I don't think that they had a relationship until, she was obviously of age. So I think, and again, people don't understand. Katie, from my understanding, Katie's home life is really sad. And I'm not going to get into it. Because it has nothing to do with, it does have to do with maybe her behavior and some of the things. It explains a lot for me. But still, if she did get pregnant at such a young age, I don't think it would have been Seth. I'm just saying. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but there were things going on with her that should not have been. And they were coming from her own home. So I just don't know. But anyways, this is a conversation that the one of the dog handlers, I wanted to make sure that we clarified something very, very well. There were 2 dog handlers that called in for JS for Justice. This one right here, the canine captain, she is truly legit. She has amazing, and when I say amazing credentialing, she has amazing legitimate credentialing, and she kind of, because of everybody's kind of playing telephone, so people are like, oh, but it was the dog person. Well, there were 2 of them. One was named Julia, I think is the name. I think this one's Julia, but the one that was fake, the one that was a basket case, was the girl named Stephanie. I can't remember the name because it's on this phone, but it was Stephanie something. I want to say it starts with a V. Her last name starts with a V. She was the one that, this has nothing to do with the canine captain. This lady right here is legit Army. Legit has a dog that was trained by the Department of Defense. And so I want to make sure that that's known. This person is high, and it is not, she is not, and I repeat, is not a scammer, not legit. She is G.I. Jane, okay? I just want to make sure that is clear. There were 2 of them. Steph was the scammer. So this is something that I've been asking around, and maybe you guys can help me with. I've been asking it on a few of the Sebastian Rogers Facebook group. I'm in the Find Sebastian Rogers group. I think this one was from Find Sebastian Case Discussion. There's several different groups here, but this one came out of the Find Sebastian Rogers, and this I did put in there. And it says, it was reported the day after Sebastian Rogers disappeared, Chris Proudfoot left the family home to retrieve his camper at the Yogi Bear campground in Mississippi. Does anyone know what time it was when Chris left the house to get his camper, or what time he returned home after retrieving it? That is my question to the true crime community, because I need it. And I know somebody had said, somebody did write me and say that Jessica prepared a timeline, and it was really good. And I just found that out like just a little bit ago, right before I came live. Why did he have to exactly, Priscilla? That's been my question the entire time. And people asked him, and I think it was on Smiley's World, when they asked him, why did you go retrieve the camper? And he said, I had to get it out of there. I can't remember what verbatim what he said, so don't quote me. But it was something on the lines of, I had to go get it out of there because of my job. My job needed something. So that's why I thought it was on his job site. And then I found out it was at the Yogi Bear campground. And they're a monthly rental, and it's a third party unrelated to his work. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know why he had to retrieve it. It seemed like it could have stayed there for an extra day or two until they got some knowledge on what was going on with Sebastian, personally speaking. But again, I don't know. I have no clue. Hey, Jen, it's nice to see you. I don't know what time, but I do know he was gone 17 hours and overnight. There is no way. That's the key. That's why I need to know. That's why I need to know. There's no way. Let me write that down. Jillian, do you know where you got that information from, or where you saw it by chance? 17 hours and overnight. That had to have been a major red flag for law enforcement. That had to have been a major red flag for law enforcement if that's true. I remember somebody told me, and I don't remember what live it was in. I don't remember if it was here on TikTok or if it was on YouTube. But somebody told me in a missing person, when they don't find them after, I can't remember the timing, they say they follow the parents. They put the parents under surveillance. And I wonder, since Chris had a family member that worked in the law enforcement, either there or close to there, advised him of that. And I wonder if when he was advised of that, he left so they wouldn't follow him because they didn't have the orders in place. Because I remember something around that, and I you know who I think I heard it from? Nick Barris. I think it was Nick Barris that talked about it. And I think it was on the live where he had the white t-shirt where he was going over some stuff about Sebastian's, or maybe it was the one before that, where where the Sebastian was allegedly seen in North Carolina. But I think if I'm going off the top of my head, and I think I'm accurate, I think it was Nick Barris that was having this discussion. But if he was gone 17 hours and overnight, that had to have been it's almost such a major red flag that I don't know how law enforcement would not immediately start looking at the parents if that was true. I'd like confirmation. If you know where you saw that 17 hours, Jillian, send it over to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I would say send it here, but I get so many messages, it's kind of hard to read through some of them. So usually if you send it over to my Gmail, I get it. Can Yogi Bear confirm when he got it? I have to think that somebody has already tried to do that, and I have to imagine that because Chris is there and because Chris is running, he's probably already went down to that main office and probably tried to push his weight around and saying, you better keep me out of this, don't be sharing none of my stuff. If you do, I'll sue you, right? I'll sue you for a breach of whatever. Chris seems like that kind of person that would have been a little hostile and tried to intimidate people, so they're scared of him, right? And will do what he wants them to do, because it seems like that's how he works and keeps people in control, is through the act of intimidation. So I have to imagine that he's already been to that office. And the reason why I'm going through this dissertation is I have to imagine, with everybody that was in that community and everybody knowing where they were, that somebody has at least attempted to try to get that information. And if that information has not been leaked out to the public, then that park is keeping it close to the chest or kicking people off their property because they had been threatened by one of their customers. Now, I have nothing to corroborate that. That is just my opinion. It really is. It's just my opinion. I wonder, how can KP sleep? I honestly don't know. I really hope she comes out and gives an interview soon with anyone, just to give us a pulse of her, I really would, because right now she's MIA. People are concerned whether she's another, I don't know what to call victim of Chris. I don't know. The professionals are actually, I'm starting to hear a change. I watch a lot of stuff, and I'm starting to hear people saying we need to be a little more worried about Katie. And this is coming from professionals that I highly recommend, which brings me back to kind of dovetails right into one of my next slides, which is on the lab. They had Chris McDonough, which is a homicide investigator. He's dealt with over 300, homicide cases, and he's the director of the Cold Case Foundation. This guy, I can't remember what he does, but he's a forensic guy, some type of guy or body. I don't remember what his specific thing was. I really can't. But it was a great panel. I don't even remember his name, which is awful of me. Gary. It's Gary Brucato. So his name's Gary Brucato. But you'll have to look him up and find out, what his accolades are. Either way, they had this panel up on the lab, and they were talking about this. And this was the one when they started telling... it was Chris McDonough that started breaking down that body language a little bit, for us. And he's starting to kind of side-eye Katie Proudfoot more so than Chris Proudfoot. And I have to think that a homicide detective that has been involved with 300 cases, no matter what the cleared rate or whatever, I'm not even looking at that. I didn't even look at that. I'm not even going to discuss that. But anybody that's had that many homicide cases is seasoned, okay? They are seasoned. I thought it was a couple weeks that they went and got the camper. No, it was the next day, because I remember somebody, I didn't even know about it. I had been, you guys know how attentive I am with this case, but I didn't even know that he had left. But it wasn't until, like I said, I believe it was Smiley's World. I think it was Smiley's World on YouTube, that interview that she gave them. It was that one that I think that they talked about it. And they point blank asked him, why did you leave to go get your camper the very next day? And he gave an answer. And the answer to me when he gave it, I'm like, who cares? Why did they just call down there if it was a big deal? Give the camping place a credit card and charge them a couple nights. Tell them what's going on. You got a missing kid. You had to leave. He has a sister that's a cop, right? We're hearing that. I'd like that, honestly, I'd like that confirmed. I think, you know what, for whatever reason, I want to think that Eric Craddock I think maybe he did address it at the one and only press conference a month ago, or the second press conference. I think that was the second press conference, actually. But he might have. I want to say that I think that somebody has corroborated that, but I can't recall. Like I said, I'm going back to the beginning of this case. So much has gone on. There's been so much drama. This case has been littered with a bunch of drama. I'm not even talking about case drama. Like, we deal with case drama all the time, the drama of the parties. But this is all outside influence drama. Because you know what caused all this? I can tell you exactly. I absolutely believe, and I don't know 100%. I'm going to say I know 100%, but I really don't know 100% because I'm not there, right? But what I truly believe happened... Give me just a second. Hold on a second. But what I truly believe happened... Hold on. Thank you.
See if you like that.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, so I forgot even where I was at. My neighbor brought me over. Look at that, isn't that sweet? He brings me over food. Huh, it's like a mushroom thingy. Okay, well, it looks good. We'll try it. We'll try it out. Let's see here. Drama. Yeah. Outside drama. Thank you. And so what I think really happens is that this, when you have a parent that's really, really desperate, you got all these people reaching out saying, hey, I can help you. I'll help you. I'll help you for free. This is what I can do for you. This is what I can do for you. You really need to do this and you really need to do that. And here, I'm your friend. And meanwhile, these parents, they're spinning, they're missing a loved one. And this doesn't just go for children. This goes for all cases. And so somebody that's desperate and has no money, they're going to be saying, okay, well, do what you can do for me. Do what you can do for me. Do what you can do for me. And then you start seeing these people, doing these pissing contests or putting something out that the parent didn't want out or something like that. Or causing, being rude to somebody that the parent didn't want. And then when the parent says something, they start going off on the parent. It's a whole bunch of drama, but I understand how it's created because, these parents and these family members are desperate for answers. And when they're desperate for answers, they don't know which way is up and which way is down. And people can really get in here and do some damage. And I kind of think I think everybody's intentions were good. It's just the difference between professionals and yahoos is whether they can keep their professionalism in times of chaos and strife. And as you saw, many of these so-called professionals failed miserably because they got right involved in the BS drama and emotional train wreck that is being created by some of these people. So I don't know. I just wish things would just stop. Like literally, today's a new day and it can just be over. And people can just get back to work. I mean, at the end of the day, why are we here? Why are we here? We're here for this boy right here. He has not been found. This is Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that sounds like he was treated really, really terribly by his parents that he lived with, his mom and his stepfather. It seems like they had this facade. Oh, thank you, Sabrina. It sounds like they had this facade of making people believe that they were these great people. Meanwhile, they talked to him poorly. I feel like over time, they felt him as a burden. And it's hard. It's a hard pill for me to swallow. And I didn't even know this kid. I can't even imagine what his dad is going through. I don't even want to say mom because we know what she's going through. Right? She's running away. I've never seen that before. I hope I never see this again. I really do. I hope I never see parents do this stuff again. But we will. We will because we got disgusting people and they come in all shapes and sizes. And all kinds of stuff in their garages and nice houses too. But I keep wondering, if we start looking at Katie, is there something, thank you, Beach. Is there something wrong with Katie? Like, a mom not having any emotions over her cub after raising him for 15 years? It just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, for a mom to be at a motorcycle shop getting off a motorcycle, it just doesn't seem right to me. It seems, what it seems like to me? It seems like somebody that just got rid of a weight off their back and now they're free. That's what motorcycles symbolize for me. Freedom. Your hair blowing in the wind, right? Any motorcycle junkie knows what I'm talking about. That right there was an act of freedom. A motorcycle, like getting off a motorcycle, she can now finally get her own motorcycle. I know. And we've got drama about Seth. No. Until you go and raise holy hell with the two people that last... I want to say two people that last saw him, but we know that Chris didn't last see him, but he was in his house, right? This was the family home. So until you're ready to tear those parents apart, I don't want to hear crap about Seth. I don't want to hear crap about Seth. Because I don't see Seth looking for a new motorcycle. I don't see Seth shopping for anything. Hell, I heard Seth was living in a freaking truck to go hunt for his son. Doing whatever it took. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm done with the Seth thing. And I'm tired of hearing it, and I'm just tired of it. And you guys as an audience can shut that crap down quick. You know what you do? You unsubscribe, you down, thumb down. You let people know that you're tired of the bullying of Seth. Until they start bullying Chris and Katie, the ones that actually had the most contact with this kid, and actually this kid disappeared from literally their home, until they're beat up. I don't want anybody saying squat about Seth. Squat. Like, it's a nothing. All right, guys, I'm going to take my dish. I'm going to go walk over to my neighbor's house. I'm going to have some lunch with him to thank him for making the dish because he interrupted me, and I don't even want to know what my face looked like at him. I'm sure it was rude. So I need to go unrude myself. And I'll see you guys here in just a little bit. And I will talk to you guys later. But just remember, we've got to keep it focused. This is not about anybody else. This is about this boy right here. And everybody that has hurt feelings, just knock it off, okay? If you're going to, I hate to tell you, you get hurt feelings literally on every single case. So if you're going to be crying like this, you're going to be a blubbering fool for the rest of your career. Because I hate to burst your bubble. None of these cases are pretty, and everybody has hurt feelings. But the ones that are here for the right reasons, we wear those hurt feelings with a smile. Just saying. Turn that frown upside down. God bless.